Hello World Wide Web, I'm Dr. Shado, the internet personality with the best hair. And I'm finally home after all this time. I feel like I really need something to help me relax. Something like the entire world convulsing and throwing my friends and family into precarious situations, such as the ones we see in today's movie, Nature Unleashed, Earthquake. Like the other Nature Unleashed films I've reviewed, that being Fire and Avalanche, Earthquake was produced by New Image Films as a straight-to-TV and DVD video production. Par for the course is that they, again, took a generic action movie script and made the big bad guy a natural disaster. Naturally, this tends to cause the plot to be a disaster. However, unlike forest fires and to some extent avalanches, earthquakes are considerably less predictable in nature, meaning they might actually fit better than some disasters. Which also means they cause the most damage and tend to cost the most lives of all the natural disasters, which makes this review awkward before it even starts. But let's take a look at Nature Unleashed Earthquake and see if third time's a charm. What the hell is this? A Super Nintendo song? Gonna start off in a European dance club? Oh, no, that's the opening credits to the movie. Music to really set the mood as we find ourselves outside the perimeter of a nuclear power plant in Russia, introducing us to miscellaneous extra Leon, played by Patrick Drekhaus, as well as Jacinta Mulcahy as Rachel, the technician in charge of getting the plant up and operational. Quick character trait here, she happens to be a genius?
Queen takes knight. Check.
Considering he's having to work the game entirely in his head, I'd venture to say him even able to pull off a legal move is pretty damn impressive. But there's a sudden tragedy. Tremors rock the area, and the chess game is ruined! Oh, and the other guy is practically killed falling into a spontaneous sinkhole.
What was that?
I think we've had an earthquake.
Oh, no, maybe the borscht was starting to turn.
Next time, let me win in chess.
You didn't lose, you were in check, not checkmates. The scenery suddenly changes to Los Angeles, so we can meet our main guy for this film, Josh, played by Fintan McCowan. He's a depressed, single guy who has been showing up late for work for the last 2.5 weeks. Here, we establish...
Your ex-wife called and your son called. He wants to know your decision. Something about a bike?
Nobody at fucking all knows how to act in this movie. Oh, actually, they intend to explain how in the hell this movie, clearly set in Russia, happens to have a middle-aged white guy from America as the protagonist.
The Kazursk nuclear power plant retrofitting deal.
No,
You designed and engineered the retrofitting, Josh. There's no one more qualified than you.
Which raises even more questions, such as, why the hell is it that Josh, who designed and invented this nuclear retrofitting thing that is very expensive, a grunt at this company and not a fucking billionaire who owns the damn thing? Or just spends his weekends buying yachts and doing blow off Anne Hathaway's ass. Nevertheless, back in Russia, Rachel is hard at work trying to figure out what caused the sinkhole. The... earthquake? While Patrick Mulcahy, playing the role of Emilio, snidely dismisses any and all problems this might cause.
The foundations of the plant were built to withstand an 8.0 or even an 8.5 on the Richter scale. This is Russian engineering, Dr. Stevens.
And despite this taking place in Russia, he is one of the only actors who actually speaks with a Russian accent, and is therefore a bad guy. Also, it's worth noting that the actor is actually a native of Hungary. After Josh arrives, Emilio does explain to the audience why he is the only man in Russia who is portraying a Russian.
It's a multicultural workforce. The best of the best, from right across Europe.
And America.
Or to put it another way, New Image Films desperately needed actors and didn't give a fuck where they got them from.
I thought after Chernobyl, plants weren't being built so close to populated areas.
No, I actually wasn't going to bring that up because, well, stupid movie. But if the film actually brings it up, I am interested in hearing what it has to say to explain it away.
Please, that was tragic accident. But Russian engineers make sure they learn from mistake.
So, nothing. Nothing. Fucking great. Of about the same importance as any other bullshit thus far, we establish once and for all the extremely obvious relationship between Josh and Rachel.
You miss L.A.?
Not really. Sometimes.
So for all, none of you out there who didn't already guess, yes, Rachel is Josh's ex-wife. And you didn't even need the other 20 hints this movie dropped to figure that out. And also, please enjoy this scene with Rachel in it, as it is the nicest she is for the entire fucking movie. As they walk past the super reinforced doors that will obviously be important later, they head to the core so we can establish just how fucked this region is in record time.
Computer is showing a radiation leak.
As it seems to be tradition in the Nature Unleashed series, the title threat actually has very little to do with why people are in danger. It all tends to fall back on stupidity. This sudden crisis is diffused just as quickly as it came, causing Emilio to declare their automatic safety systems wonderfully successful. Finicky as hell, yes, but no one got hurt in this completely unnecessary crisis.
Rachel, just calm down.
You can't tell me what to do, Josh. We aren't married anymore.
No, but he's here to supervise the retrofitting that he designed, so part of that job entails telling you what to do.
No more apologies, Josh. Sometimes you just have to take responsibility for the things you do. The mistakes you make.
You put that glitchy piece of shit together! Asshole or not, he hasn't done a goddamn thing wrong yet!
Can I drop by later?
You don't have visitation rights again until the summer.
Okay, so does it turn out that she's an evil villainess and they're just trying to establish now that she has a soul full of dog shit, so when the earthquake comes and she falls into the plant's nuclear core, we can all say that she had it coming? To further hammer the point home, we get to see how she interacts with the kids, telling her son that no, he can't have a motorcycle just because, and insulting her daughter's fashion sense.
Help me out here. She looks like the living dead.
Okay, I'll try. The goth phase many teens exhibit is an act of rebellion. It is natural for their age, but it can be exasperated by virtue of the fact that you are a total bitch.
Ask your dad. He agrees with me. He's here at the plant.
He's here and you didn't tell us.
Case in point. Not all is shit sundaes with sour sprinkles, though. After all, Dylan, played by Damien Hunt, has camaraderie with extremely useful friend Kofi Ajiman, who plays Muddy.
What's up, Sparrow?
It's Raven, numbskull.
We are still in Russia, right? Muddy's accent isn't just muddy, it sounds quite British. And why is it everyone in this country is speaking English? Oh, that still doesn't really explain it. Wait a minute, earthquakes are supposed to be what's going on in this movie, right? Therefore, Josh looks over the data from the last couple of years and comes to a startling discovery. The last 2 years match up perfectly.
There should be seasonal change, decay, something.
Amelia must have known.
Fucking how? Earthquakes are notoriously impossible to predict. How the hell would random plant technician be so up on his geology that he has advanced knowledge and knows something that he just must fucking know that nobody else on fucking Earth knows? They decide that everything should be double and triple checked for safety. Right as Emilio is telling everyone to just go ahead and get the plant online already. As this is going on, Raven, or rather Sherry, played by Zoe Thorne, ditches class to take the subway and see her father. It almost seems as if they're putting all the little pieces in place for a disaster. Oh well, at least we already established that the plant's foundation can withstand an 8.5 quake.
We got a major problem! See how the foundation is disintegrating?
Oh. Never mind then. Right on cue, Emilio turns the plant online, and then a quake hits that turns everything to shit. Though I have to point out, they already had the core set up. Online or not, it doesn't matter if the plant's generating electricity with it. They were capable of suffering a meltdown. I mean, I know that's not dramatic, but still.
Get everyone out. I'll shut down the core.
It's fucking radioactive! It doesn't have a goddamn on and off switch! Before she can make herself useless, the earthquake strikes. This results in your generic disaster reel and peculiarly absent-minded bystanders as the school is destroyed, the plant suffers major damage, and the subway cars suddenly think that this is a game of turbo dismount. But don't worry, this is a new image production. We already know the body count's going to be able to be tallied on one hand. The quake dies down, but the danger is not over, because the core is overheating and on fire. Because they had to show it was hot somehow, so fire. Yeah, what the fuck is burning? What, did someone leave their paperwork in there? Worry not, they've activated the sprinkler system. Do these motherfuckers have any idea how nuclear power plants work? You have the core. It is very hot, very radioactive, and you have it submerged in water, which boils, generating steam that pushes turbines. Why is it your emergency system is a goddamn water gun?
The coolant basin must have run dry.
Which you had, what, a liter of fucking water for? Who the fuck designed this shit? Oh yeah. Well, good going, Josh! Time to get the pieces in place for the main events. But Dylan lost his phone!
Dude, can I use your phone? Yeah. Take it.
Sure, go ahead. I mean, it's not like I could possibly have anyone to call at a time like this. He calls his mother and tells her he's alright. He also establishes he is a real shit brother.
I'm good. Sherry's okay.
Good.
Sherry, I talked to Mom. Well, where's Sherry?
If you can't recognize your sister from her friend just because they have similar hairstyles, well, then I guess you take after your mother. Despite this oversight, Sherry seems to be okay, having survived the wreckage. However, as her teacher is not amongst those walking towards safety, she decides to turn back and find her. Yeah, her teacher found her in the subway and told her that she would have detention for the rest of her life. You know what? Leave the bitch. Substitutes are always nicer anyway. With this in mind, Dylan must find his sister. And fast! But how?
Thanks, man.
Sure, man. I mean, my house is probably destroyed and I've lost everything except this, but, you know, go ahead and take it. You can keep the phone, too. Fucking, really. You know what makes this even better? We never see this character again for the rest of the movie! Fucking brilliant! At this time, Emilio calls for the other emergency coolant system to be fired up.
What are you doing? You have to try to shut it down now!
It doesn't work like that, you fucking moron! He designed these failsafes. No wonder everything's fucked! In an attempt to be the evil Russian of evil intentions, Emilio closes the reinforced doors, trapping Josh and leaving him to die. Which, if you ask me, is another case of Emilio doing his best to find an actual solution to the crisis. Unfortunately, it looks like this over-budget failure of a plant also happened to be built with shoddy dollar store piping that can't even survive their first use, rupturing and leaving them yet again without coolant. And when water pressure is really high, it turns into fire, for some reason. I know these guys failed physics, but fuck! While fucking everything royally, the movie takes a second to remind us just how fucked we are.
1 million people will die. A nuclear holocaust 100 times worse than Chernobyl.
The current death tally for the Chernobyl disaster is slightly less than 1 million. 1 million times 100 is not 1 million. Trying to make sure as few people die as possible, Emilio says that they should seal off the core to buy some time for the city to evacuate. Of course, there's like 3 guys who will be trapped. Oh, damn that identifiable victim effect! Everyone knows that 3 is far more important than 1 million!
If you don't want to die, I suggest you get in your car and drive.
And then maybe you stand a chance.
And that's probably the only good advice anyone has had for this whole movie. We've all seen that these morons can't solve problems even when the solution is staring them right in the face. Ah! Case in point. With some quick thinking, that being realizing that the huge, thick, reinforced doors happen to have very large glass windows one could easily fit through, Josh manages to free himself from confinement, going forth to further screw things up in search of the elusive off switch. In the meantime, Rachel forgets all about the off-switch crap and actually begins to think about how to bring in water to cool down the core.
Use the main subway line as a direct pipeline to the plant.
The water will flood the coolant basin. It's brilliant.
Huh. You mean for once in this movie his character's actually going to do something good? Oh, well, so her children are down in the subway. Well, I guess this does fit well within her range of character.
470 degrees. 45 minutes until...
Set the clock.
Well, that'll work as a rough estimate, but you do realize the cause of a meltdown is temperature, right? Not time. In the confusion, Emilio makes his escape. I thought thought they all drove compact cars over there. That's more like it. With that complete, Rachel heads off to find Josh, who is currently hard at work getting a miscellaneous extra killed. And the body count has ended at 2. The characters don't know that yet, and are still trying to save everyone, which is quite hard for Dylan as the subway tunnels have collapsed. Which should make that whole plan of piping water through them completely fruitless, but let's ignore that. It is Act 3 after all. As Josh is again trapped and severely fucked, Rachel Ex Machina arrives.
They're fine. I talked to Dylan at the school.
And then Sherry got in the subway, and Dylan went in after her, and then I told the city to flood the subway. All our problems are solved, dear.
You gonna flood the subway tunnels?
If you've got a better idea, I'd like to hear it.
Hey, lady, 20 minutes left in the movie. You maybe want to take some time to establish that you are likable? At all? Josh also points out the fact that the containment doors remaining sealed will prevent the water from being able to reach the core, so Rachel needs to work on deactivating the systems that her husband designed and she herself installed, yet will continue to pussyfoot around until the last possible second. While she wastes time, Dylan shows up to point out that things aren't going so well for her daughter.
I'll find her. We'll find her.
No, Dylan. Absolutely not.
Fuck the plant, fuck the city, and fuck your sister. Everybody is going to die today! Okay, seriously, is she the villain? Because she's entering Captain Planet levels of evil here. The guys managed to convince her that preventing a tragedy 1.015 times that of Chernobyl is more important than being a total bitch, and the story can progress. Upon closer inspection, the collapsed tunnel does have a handy-dandy side passage. But, oh, wait, there's earthquakes in this movie, right? Even in the middle of a disaster scenario during a mass evacuation due to a pending nuclear meltdown, the gas station is still open. You know, that is customer service you just don't get anymore. With the tunnels flooding and a little over 3 minutes until meltdown, Rachel decides that maybe she should get off her ass and actually try to get the fucking doors open already. Don't worry about the family, this is extra thick, slow-moving Russian water, so they still have plenty of time to find Sherry and Miss White trapped in the subway car, buried underneath dirt and rock, dig them the fuck out of there, and escape. During this time, Rachel has figured out how to fix the doors by taking the computer the fuck apart and rewiring the goddamn motherboard. All in the span of like 2 fucking minutes.
Try it again.
Maybe if you had invested more in safety equipment and less in flashy error messages, we wouldn't be in this mess in the first place. The solution to their problem comes in the form of a soft reset, which really makes me wonder why the fuck they didn't just try unplugging it and plugging it back in. But nevertheless, despite the building water pressure, Rachel gets the doors to open up, allowing the water to reach the core and avert a meltdown. And if anyone says, great, now this gives us time to shut down the core, I'm gonna punch him in the fucking mouth! Nevertheless, we get our happy ending. The family is brought together amidst the rubble of the city so Josh can make the critical error of getting back together with his ex-wife, who remains entirely unlikable even after saving the city. And they're going to move far, far away from all of these earthquakes, settling down with Josh in Los Angeles. Well, at least there, their closest nuclear plant is going to be 200 miles away. It's better? Well, that was Nature Unleashed Meltdown. Earthquake. And, it's fucking stupid as shit! Not too surprising considering we're dealing with a Nature Unleashed movie here, but holy hell did they go all out when it came to fucking things up in this movie. First of all, I don't think I have to point out that while earthquakes did happen and were related to the crisis at hand, they hardly were the central focus despite being in the title. Yes, Avalanche was fucking stupid with how it changed the laws of physics in order to accommodate the avalanches in the movie to fit the plot, but at least the theme did come through in that instance. In Earthquake, it's almost a completely unrelated movie with a slightly higher than usual use of shaky cam. Finally, on the quality of said piece, this was just bad. The acting was dry and at best sounded like someone's high school production. The writing, however, is really where this film suffers the most. Characters range from bland to completely unlikable to mysteriously devoid of any reason to exist other than to help the main cast to whatever the fuck they were trying to do with Emilio. It's nice to see a bad guy that's not a cartoon stereotype, but I don't know if that was intentional, as they gave him the usual punishment and death the evildoers get in these movies. Rachel was by far a much colder, meaner, and downright unpleasant character. However, we were supposed to root for her and Josh to get together? Even after it's revealed that they broke up because Josh cheated, all I can really say is, I fucking understand why. Overall, Nature Unleashed Earthquake is a by-the-numbers and on-a-budget film that tries to be basic popcorn entertainment and fails. Spectacularly so, in fact. It does manage to hold on to that so-bad-it's-good charm, but again, this is a movie to laugh at, not really to enjoy for what it is, even ironically, coming in at 2 extremely generous friends who you will never see again, out of 5. Though I did learn something doing research for this movie. Foreshocks exist! They're a lot like aftershocks, except they come before, and I still don't really tell you when the earthquake is going to come or how powerful it's going to be, so it doesn't really have predictive power there. But thank you all for watching. I've been Shado, and remember, the power is yours! And it's radioactive, so you should probably put it down. You'll get cancer.
Gotta be an office record, right?
Kinsey was unbeatable. Till they fired him.